Good morning to all. Thanks for giving an opportunity for Vijayawada Municipal Corporation to present on the biomethanization plant. So, quickly, our city profile. We are a densely populated city with just 61.88 square kilometer of the city area, but our population as per 2011 census was 10.3 lakhs. And currently, including the floating population, it is projected out to be 15 lakhs. As far as the literacy rate is concerned, we are good. Water supply also, we are supplying much ahead of the international standard. Other than that, the main thing which we want to focus on this is the waste generation. We are generating roughly 520 tons per day of municipal solid waste, out of which roughly again 50% is wet and 50% is dry. Next. So my presentation pertains to the biomethanization process. So biomethanization particularly means anaerobic decomposition of the wet waste, that is the organic waste. So this slide basically gives you an overview of what may constitute the waste and what are the outputs which come out of the biomethanization plant. So it can be the basically the manure which comes out of the animal waste. It can be the wet waste in terms of the biosolids. It can be our food waste which is coming from our kitchens, or it can be any other organic waste which can come also from the agriculture fields. From this, we can produce biogas. That is the main output which we receive from, which we produce from the anaerobic digestion process in the biomethanization plant. This biogas in turn can be used as a viable source of energy in order to produce electricity, in order to produce heat, it can be used as bio-CNG in the fuel of the vehicles, or it can also be used as renewable natural gas. The second output, which it is basically a byproduct which is from the biomethanization process, is the digestate. Basically, is nothing but the manure. So it can be used as organic fertilizer. It can be used for animal bedding. It can be used for preparation of other products like furniture, or it can be used also as a horticulture product. Next. So this is a brief overview of what the biomethanization plant is there in Vijayawada Municipal Corporation. This plant is pretty old. It was established in 2004 with a capacity of 10 tons per day. But slowly it ran for 2 to 3 years. But then because of mishandling, because of basically not able to supply the pure wet waste, it again went into the condemned stage, and then it was revived in 2019. So we again started the work in 2019, and 2020, finally the plant could come up again. The capacity of the plant was increased from 10 tons per day to 20 tons per day. Particularly in this 20 tons, 16 tons comes from the pure wet waste, and the 4 tons comes from the animal waste. This animal waste is nothing but the waste which is coming from the slaughterhouse. In Andhra Pradesh, we call it kabela. So it is 16 plus 4. 16 comes from the pure wet waste, and 4 tons comes from the kabela. When it comes to the cost details, the revival of the existing plant, this plant has costed us 2.15 crore. When it comes to O&M, it is costing us 23 lakhs per year with an increment of 5% every year. Next. So this is the main slide. Whenever any waste processing plant is set up, there are mainly two things which we have to take care of. One is the source of the waste which would be fed into the plant, and second thing is the transportation mechanism. So the source should be a perennial source. So one day we should not get some 100 tons, and second day suddenly we should not end up getting some only 5 tons. So the perennial source of the wet waste, and that also the purest form of wet waste, we have tagged on all our markets, the vegetable markets and the fruit markets, to the biomethanization plant, and that is the reason why we are still able to run it without any hiccups. Even if there is, let us say, there is a dip in the segregation at doorstep, still this plant will be still running, because we will continue to get the wet waste from the markets. So we have tied up the Purnananda fruit market, we have tied up the Bhavanipuram and the Kaleshwara market. and 2 more markets to the biomethanization plant. The mechanism of transportation is also fixed. We are having compactors wherein this waste, the fruit waste or the vegetable waste, is put into the compactor bins by the concerned association. As in case of Raitu Bazars, it is the Raitu Bazar Association. In case of Fruit Market, it is the Fruit Market Association. They will dump the pure waste into the bins, and before the waste is loaded into the compactor, basically a physical evidence in term of a video or a photo is sent to me. Basically it is sent to my command and control center. They would keep on watching whether we are mixing any other type of waste in this wet waste or not. Only when the clearance is given, they would be transporting this pure wet waste to the biomethanization plant. Once the wet waste is transported to the plant, then the actual process of the biomethanization starts there. That I'll be explaining in the next slide. Next few slides. So roughly this is what is the savings that we are taking off the plant. So one thing which I forgot of this plant is the output which we are getting from this plant is bio gas or the bio CNG. This bio CNG is then fed into a generator. This generator is used to supply electricity to the nearest STP. So we are having a 40 tons per day STP, which is situated just beside this biomethanization plant in Ajit Singh Nagar. So the electricity which is generated out of this biomethanization plant through the generator is used to run the STP. So the savings which we generate from this power generation per month is 2.92 lakhs, while the cost is 2.11 lakhs in order to run the plant. Basically, it is costing us 440 rupees per ton or 7,040 rupees per day in order to run the plant. So the net savings per month is 81,300. So not only our waste is getting processed, the important waste, the wet waste is getting processed, but also we are converting the hazardous gases, basically the CNG gases, into something useful, which is electricity in our case, in order to run the plant. And in turn, we are also gaining some revenue out of it, which is particularly in the terms of 80,000 per month. Next. So roughly one comparison between various types of wet waste processing and why we have gone particularly for biomethanization plant. As you can clearly see, the time required for biomethanization process is just 10 to 15 days. When it comes to vermicomposting, the time required for the wet waste to be converted into the manure is 30 to 45 days. When it comes to windrow composting, it is still the same. While the processing cost in windrow composting is more, vermicompost, it is more or less something similar to biomethanization. But biomethanization gives us good results when it comes to the timing, that is the time which is required, as well as the processing cost is less. Only the initial capex is more in terms of the biomethanization plant. That's why we have chosen biomethanization. The only thing that we have to ensure is the supply of pure wet waste to the plant on an everyday basis. Next. So the benefits of the project: the power generated through this plant is used to supply and run the Ajit Singh Nagar sewage treatment plant. For composting, let us say 20 tons of wet waste, 12-kilometer area is required per day. It takes minimum of 50 days time period if we compost it using the regular method. So the total area saved in case of biomethanization is 60 square meter. It is not only saving us time, it is not only saving us cost, but also the area is also saved. The leachates which come out through the normal composting process like vermicompost or through the windrow composting, it may end up spoiling the groundwater. It also produces smells and odors, but it is not a case in case of biomethanization. The gases which are produced from the waste in case of the normal composting are methane, then CO2, H2S. And then, but in case of biomethanization, this is not the case. These gases are, as everybody knows, they are very harmful and are responsible also for the global warming. The solid residue, which is a byproduct which is coming out of the biomethanization process, is used as manure. My last slide, basically what we exactly do in the biomethanization process is Once the waste is received, it is screened for any non wet waste. Basically, any dry waste, if it comes, it is screened for that. After that, it is fed into the shredder. Once the shredding is done, it is put into the agitator. After the agitator, it is pumped into the digester. In the digester, it will be staying there for 10 to 15 days, as I have already explained in the last slide. Once the biogas, or mainly the methane gas, is produced, it is pumped into the generator. This is the generator, and then through this generator, the gas is the electricity is produced, and then it is used to power the sewage treatment plant in case of Ajit Singh Nagar. So that is all from my side. One thing which I would like to mention again is it all depends upon the type of the waste, that is the pure wet waste, and type of the transportation which we take care. And then only when these both things are ensured, the plant would be able to run, and it can be able to, and we can also sustain it using this if the forward linkages are properly maintained. In our case, it is the electricity production which is used by in-house by the STP. That is from my side. Thank you.
Very good and nice presentation, I would say, Radha. Just tell me one thing. Can you use even the cow dung, as we call it, or gobar? You see, the experience is different in terms of gobar gas plants, no? Because that is also actually from animal waste to the gas to the electricity. But
Yes.
it has been found that, especially in states where winters are severe, this does not work. I mean, no gas is produced, and it's not all that successful. I know in your case, Vijayawada, maybe you don't have severe winter. So my question is winter a factor in this? B, can you use any other waste also other than the fruit, vegetables, and other things you have said? In this case, can you use gobar as also for producing the gas?
Okay. When it comes to Vijayawada, as you have rightly pointed out, we don't have the severe winters. The temperature can go as less as only some 17 to 18 degrees Celsius here. That is the maximum that, that is the minimum that the temperature goes here. So winter specific issues we have not yet found with this plant as such. But the second question which you have asked is whether any other type of waste can be fed into this plant. Yes, this plant is. Yes, this plant is ready to take any type of wet waste. So the wet waste can be from the fruit market. It can also be from the households. The only problem with the households, that is, in case there is a dip in the household segregation, this plant would suddenly stop, and that's why we have tagged on to the fruit waste and the vegetable waste. In future, we are planning to go for more of such biomethanation plants. So definitely, we have to tag on to the municipal solid waste. That is the wet waste part of the municipal solid waste. So this plant can handle the municipal solid waste also. And very well with regards to the gobar or the waste which is coming out of the animals, that also can be put into it. But then it should not be pure animal waste. It has to be mixed with this vegetable waste or with this municipal solid wet waste, and then it has to be fed into it. The agency is there, they are well trained to do it, and then before putting the wet waste into the feeder system, they would be screening it for all these issues, and then they will be putting the required amount of proportionate wet waste into the machine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, I think you can tie up with these dairy industry owners. Definitely, there is a case to mix gobar with this vegetable waste and then produce the electricity. I think this is a good case.
Yes, that would be good thing. In case there is a shortage in vegetable waste, we can always use this gobar waste as an additional waste, as a buffer waste, which can be put into the system. Yes.
Definitely, because standalone gobar gas plants have failed across the country, maybe because of increased agriculture mechanization, the cattle population gone down, but now again the dairy industry is now very much at the boom. So I think this can be done.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You can explore that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Starting the presentation, before starting the presentation, I'll give a small brief about this department. So this department was newly created by the current government. So this department, in very simple terms, is the replica of a secretariat that we have at a state level to the level of villages. So today, like for example, for running a state, we need one chief secretary and all the secretaries of various departments for taking major policy decisions and to cater to the services of to requirements of citizens. On a similar note, we constructed 15,000 such secretariats across Andhra. So for every 2,000 population in rural area and for every 4,000 population in urban area, we got constructed a secretariat which had 10 functionaries from various departments, and all these functionaries belong to government only. So all of them are government employees. So as of now in Andhra, we have a system of 15,000 secretariats with 10 functionaries in rural areas for every secretariat and 11 functionaries in urban areas for every secretariat, every ward secretariat, and they are from various departments, permanent government employees who are there all the time, 6 days a week, 9 to 5 or 9:30 to 5:30 to cater to the requirements of citizen, and they are responsible for delivering almost 470 plus services through one stop center, and that is Sachivalayam, and responsible for delivering all the scheme benefits as well. So keeping that in mind, this project so our department is more of a administrative department, and this department keeps on taking various projects that government requires the department to take up. So this project is basically for making the infrastructure and overall monitoring of the schools better. So it is based on a framework of surveillance, information, response and analysis, SIRA framework. The idea was very simple, that we have a system already in place. The system of school, the school system, the education system is already on place. But how are we monitoring? How are we continuously ensuring that on daily basis all the requirements are being met or not? For example, if a school is having some issue with the compound wall or maybe some issue with the safety or something, so normally the process is that it will go to the immediate head, and then immediate head will tell to the concerned district authority, and then it will go to the headquarters. So the normal process takes so much of time, and there is no guarantee as such whether what is the timeline for resolving that issue, and what are the requirements and what are the challenges. So we built this online system whereby out of 10 functionaries, so to monitor a school, we used the services of 4 functionaries in the GSWS department. As I mentioned in the starting, that every secretariat in the villages, so every secretariat have almost 10 to 11 functionaries which belong to different departments. So out of those 10 functionaries, we took the services of 4 functionaries who are somehow responsible for monitoring the school. So first one was welfare and education assistant. The welfare and education assistant's job, normally as per his job chart, the idea is that he should be able to deliver all the schemes in his secretariat, plus he should be able to monitor the functioning of the school in his area. The second was data Mahila Police. Mahila Police is a component of secretariat, one functionary, one employee who is responsible for the safety of the area, the safety of the law and order, and to safety of that village. So it is other than what we have at the tehsil level. So it is something at village level where there are only 2,000 people for that secretariat. Then we took the service of engineering assistant, who is responsible for all the infrastructure works in the area. So be it school, be it any kind of drainage problem or any kind of road construction, any kind of construction infrastructure problems, engineering assistant will be responsible. And then we have ANMs. So ANMs, auxiliary nurse midwives, who are responsible for ensuring to take care of all the health related issues, but mainly as far as school is considered, they are more concerned about the quality of midday meals and how the quality of food is there. So these 4 functionaries, Sumant, can you go to the next slide? So what we did, we built an app called Consistent Rhythms. Why it is being called Consistent Rhythms is like I'll explain throughout the slide, but why it is being called is that these 4 functionaries are going there and inspecting as per the questionnaires provided to them in the app. So every functionary will have their own app. For example, the welfare and education assistant will have different questionnaire. He will be asked about whether headmaster is coming or not, and what is the percentage of attendance. So all those data he'll already have, but he'll just gather it and put in the app. And then whether school infrastructure is good or not, whether toilets are functioning or not, compound walls are there or not. There are some 8 to 10 categories. Within every category, we have got some questions. So he'll go and inspect and he'll submit some action. He'll submit some data. Then Mahila Police will also do the same thing. The questions for Mahila Police will be rated more about safety and all. Then the same question will be populated in the login of engineering assistant regarding infrastructure, maybe toilet functioning or maybe building constructions. And then ANMs will also be asked a question will be provided to ANM as well, where they will be asked about quality of the food and all other ingredients and how it is being supplied. So when one functionary, one government employee submits a data, if so it goes to the action tile of the other functionary. For every functionary in the app, there are 2 tiles when he logs in. One is inspection, one is actions. So in the inspection will be what he has to inspect, and action will be what he has to take action upon. For example, safety or some sexual harassment in a school, that issue should be resolved by Mahila Police. It cannot be resolved by welfare education assistant, but he can raise it. So in his inspection, he will write that I found this case, and that particular question will be automatically be linked to the action tile of Mahila Police. Same goes the other way also. It is possible for Mahila Police goes and says that toilets are not functioning, so that will automatically go in the login of welfare and education assistant. So all these 4 functionaries will raise actions for each other, and this will be monitored and totally headed over by headmaster. So all the issues will also go to the login of headmaster. For example, Mahila Police raises a question of safety, so it will first land into the login of headmaster. He will be responsible to take the action, and the concerned headmaster has to talk to the concerned SHO, or he has to take action whatever is required to solve that matter. Once he solves the matter, he'll close his action, and then once he closes the action, it will be shown as closed. So go to the next level, Sumant. So what the problems we identified before launching of this system was we did not have real-time information. Although we were capturing through the school education and through basic apps and all, but still real-time information based on other aspects than just capturing attendance and just capturing the enrollment. So real-time information should, what we thought is that it should include everything: real-time information on safety, real-time information on any kind of problems of animal. Suppose in villages we find problems of animals entering, and all those other things which are not captured on real time basis, which are captured only when someone raises the issue. So that was captured on real time basis. Then responsibilities were not very clear, so everyone will try to shift responsibility here and there. So we made a system where it was mentioned in the system only that in your action tile we have the head of the department only decided that okay, this person should be responsible for solving this problem, and accordingly funds were also given. So it was not like that only. It was not something that was totally based on just inspecting and raising the action. No, it was also based on the idea that whatever actions they are getting, accordingly funds were also allotted. So almost 40 to 45 crores have been already spent, like based on these actions that have been raised in through this module. Then decision making, as I told in the starting, that it will go to the concerned district authority, he will raise the issue, then it will come back, it may take 1-2 months. So in this case, most of the SLA periods were only for 15 days, 20 days. In 15, 20 days, they have to resolve the matter. Then awareness, lack of transparency, all those regular things which were lacking earlier. Next. Sumant. So now, and for every functionary who goes and does the inspection, he has to upload images. He has to He has to upload all geolocation. He has to upload whether he is at the right position or not, and everything will be auto populated. For example, a functionary, when he logs in, he goes to inspection, he sees all the schools that he has to inspect. It is not like that he has to find and he has to do something. No, it is already there in the system that these are the schools that you have to inspect. He will go there and then he'll get the questionnaire regarding the school for his part. Same goes for the Mahila police, same goes for the ANM, same goes for the engineering assistant. And then the same process, the same flow of raising the issue through headmaster and through other functionaries. Then, as I told, so defining clear roles and time bounds. So average inspection used to take just 14 minutes to 15 minutes for every functionary. We also ensured, since the same functionary is involved in so many other activities, so it is just one of the activities that he or she was doing. So we didn't want that he should invest the time more than what is required. So we took down the time to just 14 to 15 minutes, and then decision making was done in a very prompt manner, because once the issue is raised that okay, the water is leaking here, or this classroom is not safe, or for toilets, or for playground, or for compound walls, immediately it was raised. And this why it was done so fast, why it was done in a fast manner, in a very efficient manner, was that every Thursday our chief secretary sir used to review this. So sir used to review every aspect district wise, and every issue also, that why it is pending in this district, why it is pending there, and accordingly funds were released on a daily basis. It was not something that okay, funds will be released after a span of 1 2 months. No, it was released on daily basis as per the requirements in the portal. So that's why this remodeling and everything happened in a very fast manner. Then seamless deployment of integrated system, that was about the app and the dashboard, where we could see all the updates and all the actions. Then unified system, so we integrated data across all these departments. So because ANM will inspect, will have some data in their app, education department will have some attendance data, PR and RD will have some data, social and travel welfare will have some data. So this everything was combined and brought into one place called consistent rhythms. And why it is called consistent rhythms? Because the rhythm has to be consistent between four functionaries who are inspecting the same thing. So if Mahila police is if welfare education assistant is telling it is safe, then everyone should tell it is safe. If engineering assistant is telling
excuse me, I would request you to conclude now.
Yeah, I will conclude. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Sumant, next slide. So this was the outcome. 72.46 lakh people benefited from this overall activity. Then mothers and girls, they had this more safety, and they were more focus on the personal hygiene and everything. That also helped. And field functionaries GSWS department also got so that they used to save their inspection time. So earlier they used to take 2-3 hours. It reduced to just 14-15 minutes. Next, Suman. So it all the basic parameters showed the improvement: dropouts, Divyang children with special needs, and overall the atmosphere and all the infrastructure requirements were met up. Next, Suman. So this is like first of its kind, which I think I don't think any other area have taken up, any other state or any other city, where we have got this kind of innovation, where within the parameters of the school, only 4 government employees are inspecting it on a weekly basis, and they are resolving the issues on fortnightly basis. And then geotagging was again a basic requirement, because it led to 100% real inspections. There was no faking. And then we had this kind of monitoring and dashboard level monitoring, by chief secretary sir, by special chief secretary sir, by commissioner sir, was something that was not uh, like easy to do, because we have to make a dashboard in a very simplistic manner. So that we did that as well. Next. So our future plans is that now we will try to make it more extensive by involving more functionaries. Then we will try to involve more and more schools. And although all schools are covered, but still hostels also we are involving now. We are also involving the SHOs, the role of policing also. So overall, this consultant module is a very big module which involves all these functionaries to work with each other and to raise actions for each other and resolve them in a cooperative manner, so that we get the outcomes in a in as like in a very efficient and in a fast manner. So, thank you. That's all from my side.
Good. I think we are happy to note all this. But if I have one suggestion, no, instead of having all government select government functionaries to do their job of supervision, it's better to include a representative, as we call it, stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders in this case? The student itself or the parents of the student. So there should be representatives of one, at least one student should be there in a senior student should be there in every this group of four. You can add another a student or a parent and even a teacher, because these are the people who can give you the real feedback, no, rather than stereotype question answers are there and they inspect on those lines only. So this is my suggestion.
Sir, that is already being done, sir. So we in the erstwhile system, so for attendance.
No, you said four functionaries, no?
Yes, sir. This is an advancement to that erstwhile system, sir. In the erstwhile system, we already have
That's
a.
right.
This is an advancement to that, sir.
No, this is not advanced in that sense that unless it include all stakeholders, things cannot improve. Because if you simply have government functionaries, things will remain whatever they are with little improvement. But it's my opinion, you must include a representative from students or a representative from the parents, so that the real feedback or the real issues crop up.
Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Vikasji, the effort is definitely very good, no doubt about it, because such an intensive and real-time monitoring is definitely needed for regular upkeep of the system. But suppose the four functionaries or any of them says that so much funding will be required to take care of this infrastructure. So how promptly the state government take care of that?
Sir, in the same system, we have one more option has been given to the headmaster to raise that particular issue to the district level, sir, to the district collector, and immediately, so such issues as of now are 100 to 120, where the requirement. So such issues are raised to district collector to the head of the department, sir, and immediately accordingly funds are released, and it is decided that okay, this particular school needs this much amount, this much funds should be released to the district collector and to DEO, district education officer. Accordingly, it is the work, sir. So that option is already available, and it is slightly like 5 to 10 days lag is there as compared to the other issues that are resolved. So if other issues take 15 days, it may take another 21, 22 days for this thing, sir.
So it means principal doesn't have any financial power to take
He
care.
has, sir, for other issues, sir. He has the power, sir. So for regular issues like toilet maintenance, for some ceiling is leaking, or some small repairs are required in the compound wall or gates, then that much fund is available with him, sir. For funds which are too high, he needs to. That we have set the limit, sir.
Okay.
So,
Surely. Definitely. Thank you very much. Good.
On behalf of Vikas Parmat sir on sustainable development goals. So these are the globally recognized goals to be achieved by 2030. So there are 17 sustainable development goals, like no poverty, zero hunger, health and well-being. So all these are needed achieved by 2030. So AP is ranked 4 in the country by 2021 SDG ranking. There are totally 150 indicators which are defined by NITI Aayog, which have been achieved. Out of they are derived from those 17 SDGs. Government of Andhra Pradesh identified 20 indicators which require more attention. And out of these, 8 priority indicators are identified in areas of anemic management, reducing malnourishment, reducing dropouts, and improving infrastructure in schools. Apart from this, there are other like related to crimes and road accidents, percentage use of nitrogenous fertilizers, etc. So, Government of Andhra Pradesh priority indicators. So, Honorable Chief Minister during SDGs meeting directed all the 9 of nodal departments to prepare SOP for the following 8 priority indicators. So, these 8 priority indicators are distributed among 3 departments: Health Department, Women and Child, and School Education Department. In Health Department, anemia. First indicator is percentage of adults and females aged 10 to 19 years who are anemic. Second is percentage of pregnant women aged 15 to 49 years who are anemic. In malnutrition, percentage of children who are under 5 years and are stunted, and percentage of children 5 years and underweight. And in education department, adjusted net enrollment ratio, elementary education, and then gross enrollment ratio in classes 11 to 12, and percentage of schools with access to basic infrastructure like electricity and Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
So, how we're going to do this is first conducting household survey by the GVW and VSWS department. So, on this 8 priority indicators, the questionnaire was designed, and our volunteers who are distributed in villages, they are conducting this survey. So, firstly, they are conducting this survey in cluster mapping app, where they take the missing households who are left out of government schemes. So the idea basically is to identify the people who are left out of the government schemes and bring them into the government, and also the who are existing benefits, who are existing and accruing benefits, their indicators should come to normal. So this is the idea. So that volunteer SDS surveys in consistent rhythms application is conducted. Government has another part of monitoring is government has issued a GO for all the secretaries and HODs of all the government departments to conduct inspection in secretaries. These secretaries will choose the village fortnightly every month. So every fortnight they choose a village based on a district. The district will not be repeated. So by this, many villages would be inspected by all the secretaries and HODs. So uniqueness of this scheme is identifying unique indicators to bringing Andhra Pradesh from rank 4 to rank 1, and making action plan to identify and address gaps in these priority indicators. And then WS department is the nodal department coordinating efforts of all the departments like health, education, and women and child, involving an army of 2,68,000 members in this exercise to take up survey, and about 15,000 village ward secretariats with 1,27,000 functionaries are involved for continuous monitoring of this program. The workflow, the ticket will be raised by field functionaries and will be forwarded for the respective field functionaries. So under the tile tickets pending for action, the concerned field functionaries will be able to see the following data: like pregnant women who are anemic, adults who are anemic, child who are underweight, child who are stunted, net enrollment ratio in gross enrollment ratio in higher schools. And these departments will monitor the work of all functionaries. The program will get another 12 indicators. The challenges in this project are coordinating with the department and integrating data through apps. So, and communicating to the field volunteers to conduct in remote areas. So we need to access to these remote areas also. And monitoring department wise regarding tickets raised and action taken. Then developing technical capabilities relevant to department databases for monitoring and not generating any redundant data. Expected outcome. We want Andhra to be front runner in the achievement of sustainable development goals and addressing all the key indicators. And the immediate outcomes are reduced anemic adults and adults, reduced anemic pregnant women, reducing the percentage of underweight children and stunted children, increasing the girls' participation, increasing participation in higher education, basic infrastructure in schools. That's all from my side. Thank you.
I think you are doing excellent work. No questions from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Manmohan Singh. Very good initiative. In fact, this is the approach from bottom to top. If all the villages go for development of SDGs, then the country as a whole will have higher SDG achievement. Thank you very much. Excellent work.
Slide. Yeah. So I think just to give you a thing, I think throughout the country, many corporation-run schools, government-run schools, the number of students population is actually going down. Especially this was the case in Chennai before COVID, and actually a few years before the COVID, because there are a lot of competition from private schools and corporation schools. The facilities may not be very good, even though there are extremely good dedicated teachers, dedicated headmistress, and so on. And of course it's free. The uniforms are free. Everything is free, but because of the glamour of private school, and of course there are good private schools out there which take children from low income neighborhood, the population has gone down. So this project, we won it as part of the Cities Challenge, which is basically a French government funded project, along with the MAHUA, which is the Ministry of Urban and Housing Development, and under the Smart City scheme. So I think all the 100 cities participated in various categories, and 12 cities in India won the project, and this is one of those projects. Next slide, please. So I think what we, as I pointed out earlier, I think the number of people getting into schools and the people coming out of the schools also, the opportunities, etc., were low. So what we did was that as part of the cities project, we did a very holistic, next slide, please, Shan. So typically what happens in these kinds of projects is very rarely do you have a 360-degree analysis of the school system. So for example, we had around 280 schools in Chennai. It's actually under the Chennai Corporation. And the numbers are going to actually increase a lot because many of the Tamil Nadu government schools are going to be part of the Chennai Corporation school. But what happens usually is that there'll be some painting done. There'll be some, small things will be done. But here, as part of the Chennai City Partnership, the Cities Challenge, we proposed a complete 360-degree analysis of the system. So not only did we look at the infrastructure of each of the buildings, and then we also looked at the pedagogy, because ultimately, if the kid goes into the school and doesn't come out better, no point painting buildings, no point, putting new windows and so on. So we realized that the pedagogy has to improve. A lot of digital technologies have to be introduced. A lot of extracurricular activities for character development and team building and all had to be done. And very importantly, teachers being a very important part of our system, teacher and headmistress training had to be done. So this was a very complicated, difficult project, because with limited amount of money, the question becomes, how do we give proportionate money to all these different categories. So for example, physical infrastructure. So we decided about 18 campuses, which 28 classrooms to start with, were analyzed. So what we did was, we got architects, very good architects, and assigned them each of the buildings. They looked at it from all different point of view. So for example, the color of the building, there are internationally accepted colors which are better for school, better for education. They looked at wind, they looked at sun, how the rooms can be kept cool, because Chennai, as you know, can be a very hot and humid city. All those kinds of different facilities we looked. And then, for example, we looked at the toilets, we looked at the corridors. Is it well lit? Is it safe? Sometimes, for example, the children had to come down, let's say 2-3 stories down just to go to toilet. So all those things were analyzed to see, how do we give modern building facilities within the limited budget, without, of course, demolishing the buildings. So there were 1 or 2 buildings we had to demolish because they were very old. Otherwise, it was a retrofitting job, leaking roofs, etc., etc., etc. Then, for example, we looked at smart pedagogy. A lot of analysis was done on what are the modern technologies and systems we can use, and training methodology to improve teacher and headmistress capacity. This was very, very handy, especially during COVID, because suddenly all schools around the world started teaching children online. And as you can imagine, many of the corporation school teachers did not know how to teach online. So it was very, very timely. So we were able to give classes to the teachers. And can you put full screen, please? No, the previous slide, full screen. And then, for example, new technologies were introduced, the digital classroom, smart classroom technology. And by the way, as part of this, we are setting up back-room operations also. Like, for example, ERP systems, attendance systems. These are the kinds of things which will help us monitor some of the activities in the school. So I know we have limited time, but it was a very, very complicated problem, as you can imagine, because we looked at sports, for example. So given that 18 campuses, we looked at what kind of space was available. And many of the playgrounds were in very bad condition. So we did, as part of the process, we did extensive stakeholder analysis. So we spoke to parents, we spoke to children, we asked children what kind of games they would like to play in their school. We talked to, obviously, teachers and headmistress. We talked to politicians. So it wasn't like 2-3 people suddenly deciding what to do with the school. We actually had an extensive stakeholder discussion. It was very interesting how well-informed children and parents were, and their aspirations, and how amazing it was. We tried to observe as much of that aspiration and needs into the project. So, for example, when a football field was possible, we are transforming that into a proper football field. When space is limited, but children would like to play basketball or certain thing, we are creating basketball courts. So it was a real 360 degrees, and I'm not sure any other city in the country has done this kind of an extensive analysis of their school system. Next one, please. So basically, our idea was we want to compete with private schools, and we want children from middle class also to come, and parents from middle class to come and say, how come you're not taking my children into your school? We want to create that kind of a level of branding and the output that parents would be queuing up in our schools. It's already happening. In fact, our number of children enrolling has actually gone up, and I'll get to that very quickly. as part of the analysis, what we did was, so we also looked at where are the other kinds of funding. So, for example, we got money from AFD, which is the French government agency. We had to put smart city funds. Then there were other projects happening in the city with for example, Nirbhaya. Nirbhaya had a lot of the focus obviously is on women and girl child safety. So various other projects were looked at to see where do we bring in additional funds. Plus, very importantly, we didn't want to duplicate things. So if Nirbhaya is doing certain things, we would absorb that and make it as part of a larger plan. So for example, we looked at English teaching. Can we improve the English teaching? As we speak, we are introducing French in our schools in a limited way as pilot so that we can scale later in coordination with the Alliance Française of Chennai, so that they will bring in teachers, they will bring in the resources, and our teachers will be trained so that children every year will be learning an additional language, which is French. So I think, as you can see, a complete analysis plus various analysis of the existing partnerships. So a lot of NGOs were involved in the city. So we are trying to see how do we absorb them better and utilize their resources also. Next slide, please. Impact, as you can see, it's pretty. It's hardly 1 year since it started functioning. Already, you can see the impact. And I think more than any number, what I think is basically, obviously, when children's parents want to put their children into the school, that is a very good sign. And very importantly, believe it or not, every elected representative today wants a city's challenge school in their constituency. So the pressure, there is a very nice positive pressure on us to try and scale this project. Next one, please. So these are some of the examples. Some work has already happened, some works are going on, and I think in a year or so we'll be able to complete. So as you can see, each building's colors, bathroom colors, fixtures, everything has been analyzed. So there is STEM labs, there are language labs, and like I told you, the safety, all those kinds of aspects were looked into. Next one. Next one. So after having done the physical and the digital analysis, etc., what we also realize is that whether we like it or not, glamour is part of how children and parents pick their school. So corporation school, first of all, it's called the Chennai school. So the school itself, unless there is an image backed by reality, backed by digitalization, etc., you won't be able to attract parents. So we have done extensive campaign, including creating branding, logos, extensive discussion with stakeholders to figure out what kind of logo should be there and so on. So we are actually full-fledged competing with private schools to make sure that deserving children, people who can't afford private school, etc., the first choice will be Chennai schools, run by the corporation. Next one, please. So as we speak, the good news is that the Tamil Nadu government, after the 20 elections a couple of years ago, decided that this is a very, very important project for the government. They started adding additional funds. So, for example, the Honorable CM allocated 50 crores last year to this project, so that the same model can be replicated. And this is what two evaluators were asking the earlier presenters: how do we scale? And I think this is very important question that you asked, because see, the most of the problem is when money is there, we don't know what to do in a city. When we want to do something, money is not there. And the reason is, only when there is money, we start analyzing what to do. The good thing about the cities is that the entire school system has been studied. Not 281, some schools have been studied. So whenever there is some additional funds available, we are able to quickly turn it into action and projects. We can go next. Quite a bit of funds have come from various places, and a lot of, by the way, a lot of CSR funds have been initiated now. So a lot of companies which are into education, earlier they wouldn't know who to contact, where to contact. By the time they contact and come, the money is gone. So now what we are able to say is that if you have 50 lakhs, if you have 20 lakhs, if you have 1 crore, if you have 5 crore, we have almost like a restaurant menu. We are able to tell them, hey, here is how you can be of use to the city. So our ambitious target now is if we have to upgrade all the schools of the corporation, it will take around 1,400 crores. So we have a 5-year plan so that, for example, we have a dedicated CSR team who is now able to talk to the various companies and NGOs and try to see how do we bring that fund. And one, Tamil Nadu government has a very interesting scheme that says, okay, if you bring in, let's say 100 rupees, Tamil Nadu government will put 100 rupees and you can implement the project, or you can implement the project for that 100 rupees, or Tamil Nadu government can bring 2/3 the money and government will implement. So idea is to multiply the CSR funds and marketing funds, etc. So we've been getting quite a bit of CSR funds, but obviously government is very, very keen to scale up these projects. So for example, Tamil Nadu government has something called a model school. So deserving children are given residential facilities, food, etc., and very special training so that they can start competing for IITs and NITs and so on and so forth. So all this has become part of a much larger strategic picture, and funds are coming from government, funds are coming from CSR and other sources. Next one, Prashant.
Please conclude now.
Yeah, sure. Next one. So I'll conclude with this one that we are actually, I think the French funders are extremely happy with the progress, and it's I think probably beyond what they even imagine. We also are super happy because of the response we're getting from the children, parents, and the elected representatives. Thanks a lot.
Good. I think it's a very impressive project, and these days Delhi government, as you must be aware,
Yes.
they are
Yes.
encashing on this, that we are
Yes.
providing a better education.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
education is one thing which can attract parents. So if you are
Absolutely.
giving good education, definitely people feel more happy that their children are going to good schools.
Yes, sir.
So we appreciate your efforts. But just tell me one challenge which you foresee in future, because CSR funds may dry up, no? So you can't keep on depending on CSR fund, or for that matter, foreign funds.
Yes, sir, I think like I told you, the Honorable CM and his team are so very excited about this project. So government funding every year proportionately, I don't think that should be much of an issue, because it's basically people are also demanding now that these kinds of facilities come to the neighborhood school. But what we also realize is that some amount of external funds can also be possible, like CSR also. Like you rightly pointed out, we cannot overestimate that.
Yeah.
But every foundation companies have a year-by-year projection. So we're being very cautious about it. But one big challenge, for example, is the maintenance of these things. So public usually asks, okay, great job, wonderful job. Now who's going to maintain it? The good news is that as part of the city's thing, and this is demanded by the corporation and the funders, we have completely re-looked at how a school is maintained. So today, for example, there is no separate budget, separate department for maintenance, etc. So as we speak, we are putting in maintenance. So whether it is a computer that needs repair or a toilet or something else, it cannot depend on the mercy of some zonal engineer or some goodwill of somebody. It has to be a systematic process. Because of the momentum generated by this project, there is a huge, lot of changes are happening in the corporation about how these schools are maintained. So that I think that very difficult challenge also we expect to be solving it very soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Raj. Very good initiative. Definitely the building infrastructure with schools, smart school, smart classrooms, they are the need of the hour, and they increase the learning outcome of the students. But
sir.
equally important is the teachers' motivation, training,
Yes, sir.
retraining, capacity building. That is the
sir.
heart of the whole thing. If
Yes, sir.
I think you will agree with us that
Yes, sir.
this is 50% of the contribution comes from that only. I still recall
Absolutely.
my good teachers, what they
Yes,
have
sir.
taught. It appears me even after 50 years that they have taught me yesterday only. So
Yes, sir.
what is your plan to do, take care of that?
So, extremely important point you made. The core of cities is like I put in the beginning, is not about painting building training. It is headmistress leadership training. And for example, we have already started visiting Delhi and places to do capacity building, learning from others. We try to be humble so that we can learn from the best. And for example, we have trips because of COVID, it got delayed. We have trips planned to France and places where they have faced challenges and they have learned. So there are just the fact that the teachers are getting recognized to go to France, go to Delhi itself is a big motivation, because many government school teachers don't even get recognized. They hardly get thank you from anybody. So I think when they start attending these very well planned training programs, the feedback has been tremendous, because they realize that they're being taken extremely seriously, and the training is based on their own feedback of where they are having issues. So like I told you, digital, many teachers may not be sophisticated enough to use a cell phone to teach children, but instead of just letting them just go out like that, we actually have systematic training program for them, and that training program will only keep expanding. So we have a long-term plan for training teachers and headmasters, and we will obviously keep scaling that.
Okay. Thank you. Please take care of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can start, sir.
Classic synthetic fuel conversion facility, sir. It was established in September 2020, sir. See, regarding Gutturu Municipal Corporation, sir, it's a 159 square kilometers it's the area of this ULB, and population as per 2020 it's a 9.5 lakhs, and the number of wards are 57, and the waste generated from our city is 420 tons per day. This is the third largest city in AP. This is one of the largest trade centers for agricultural products in southern part, prominent commercial and medical and education hubs in the state. And Michi, most of the Michi was is a prominent trade in the Guntur municipal area. Sir, regarding Guntur city, we are getting around 16 metric tons of plastic waste per day, which is 4 to 5% of solid waste generated. So the Guntur Municipal Corporation, in line with Plastic Management Rules 2016, has set up a plastic waste to fuel converter facility in the September 2020. It's a new technique, sir. It's a first. It's a non-pyrolytic, non-catalytic, and depolymerization technique, sir. It's a non-pyrolysis, doesn't involve any burning of the plastic, sir. So there is no emissions. It doesn't need any chimney or exhaust. Thereby no pollution. It's an indigenously developed technology, sir. It's not imported or derived. So produce synthetic diesel, synthetic being used for transportation of our solid waste vehicles. See, it was developed by the NIDA Green Energy Private Limited, Hyderabad, sir. We are adapted the technology, sir. Plastic waste synthetic fuel converter facility main highlights its capacity is half ton, 0.5 tons per day. It was established in the 2000 square feet. It's a more or a 3-bedroom flat, equivalent to 3-bedroom flat. So it's a technology is non-pyrolytic, no catalytic depolymerization. The products obtained diesel, petrol. We are getting around 200 to 250 liters per day, diesel and petrol, and activated carbon of 100 kgs per day. Our processing time is 16 to 18 hours. Our capex is 1.9 crores, and we are meeting an expenditure of 2 lakhs per month. So we are engaged 4 manpower for running of the plant daily. Sir, this operation mode is that the plant was constructed by the GMC at our own funds, and the raw material for the plant is being collecting from our sanitation staff. Main plastic material is any plastic material except carry bags we are being used. See, this is being maintained by the our whole staff with help of the NIDA. Agreement period is 2 years. We are running successfully without any issues. Sir, regarding the technology, sir, technology involves, sir, heating of waste plastic in a reactor using LCT and converting the plastic mass into a gaseous state by managing heat, temperature, and pressure, sir. So there is no burning in this, sir. Gas derived is passed through a process called in line with fractional distillation, where gas is condensed and converted into synthetic kerosene, diesel, and petrol, besides activated carbon and a little methane. Fuels are collected through separate pipes and stored. Methane generated in the process again introduced back to the system by running a generator and producing electricity through itself. Sir, by major byproducts of this facility, sir, diesel and petrol, we are getting around 200 to 250 liters per day, which is being used for running of our over 200 vehicles. See, this is mixed with our fuel, petrol. We are mixing in 80 to 20%. This synthetic fuel is mixed in 20% of the regular fuel. So as of now, we are every day we are consuming 2,000 liters of petrol and diesel, in which 200 liters, 250 liters synthetic fuel we are merging into the our regular petrol and diesel. The fuel from the facility is currently being used for GMC vehicles. Significant reduction in expenditure made by GMC towards fuel, sir. In October 2022, fuel worth of 6.82 lakhs supplied to GMC vehicles from this facility, sir. So apart from that, sir, residual pet coke carbon 100 kgs per day, sir, we are getting, can be used as a menu, sir. Asphalt is another byproduct of this facility, sir, which we are getting about 50 kgs of asphalt, which is being used for pothole filling in the in Guntur Municipal Corporation area roads. So regarding, we are getting an annual revenue of 72.6 lakhs, sir. Whereas expenditure we are incurring on this plant is 24 lakhs at 2 lakhs per a month, sir. Per annum, we are incurring an expenditure of 24 lakhs. There is a net revenue of 48.6. The project payback period is 4 to 5 years, sir. So now we are running the 3rd year, sir. Apart from that, sir, during COVID period, sir, processing plastic waste derived from the COVID-19 testing of medical kits, PPE kits, swab buds, etc. in plastic waste to fuel conversion plant. GMC has successfully conversion of COVID-19 waste to fuel. This initiative was very efficient and profitable way of handling COVID-19 waste. No human contact required. Post dumping of COVID-19 waste in the plastic waste to fuel conversion unit. No impact on environment. Sir, apart from that, major we are using a fiber powder waste management. So fiber powder derived from the lens cutting generally mixed with the other waste, and it is difficult to process. So it takes hundreds of years to decompose in landfills. This causing serious environmental threat. As GMC has informed the lens shop owners in the city to collect the fiber powder, and they are handing over in a covers. Our sanitation staff will collect, and which is being utilized in the plastic waste to fuel conversion plants. Sir, our further plan of action, sir, We're setting up a new plastic waste to fuel conversion facility in line with extended producer responsibility and the plastic waste management tools. GMC in coordination with state and state pollution control board. So GMC plans to set up a new plastic waste to fuel conversion facility at a capacity between 5 to 10 tons per day with help of the Andhra State Pollution Control Board. The plastic waste collected from the industry will be used in the proposed facility, sir. As of now, we are using raw material which is being collected from our solid waste management. So we are not collecting any plastic waste from the industry, sir. Related sustainable development goals, the plastic waste to synthetic facility help Guntur Municipal Corporation to move to step ahead towards contributing in achieving sustainable development goals such as the industry, innovation and infrastructure, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action. We are successfully running this plant since last 2 years, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would just like to know whether there is any other municipality which is using this technique or this technology in Andhra Pradesh.
Nowhere, sir. Yes, first of its kind, sir.
So I think this should be spread throughout the country rather, not the state only, because this is something excellent which is required, because there is a lot of plastic waste around, no? And as I could see from your presentation, I mean, the economics work out very positive. So all the best to you. But any hurdle you would like to discuss with us? Any challenge you met, or anything why it cannot be done on pan-India basis? Anything you would like to share on that?
Sir, initially we have struggled to get the raw material for this plant running, sir. So after awareness of our sanitation workers, we used to get the plastic. See, normally carry bags will not be useful for this process, sir. You have to get the HDPE, LDPE, PPE only. These plastics being used for the conversion of plastic into synthetic fuels, sir. So now after doing so much IES activities, we are used to getting required quantity of half ton per day, sir, which is sufficient for running of these plants.
Okay, but you think it can be done on pan-India basis also, this technology?
It can be done, sir. It can be scaled up, sir. Sir, we are further planning to establish 5 to 10 tons by tying with the AP Pollution Control Board and other industries located in and around the Guntur Municipal Corporation.
Good, good. Thank you very much, Mr. Bhaskar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bhaskar sir, in fact, you have taken this technology from a company in Hyderabad, I suppose.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a NEDA green.
Yes. Yes.
Green
Yes. In fact, that entrepreneur gave a presentation to me also when I was at Niti Aayog, Advisor Science and Technology. But I am very happy that this has been implemented in your city. I think this is a fit case. I endorse the views of my colleague, Mr. Madan Mohanji, that at least I think this 10 million plus cities definitely go for this technology. So I would suggest that you prepare a good presentation or video and send at least to the big cities who are at least in metro cities that you have successfully implemented this. It is definitely a fit case for implementing on pan-India basis. Then only it will be a real impact creating project. Thank you, sir.